Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. 6 kilometres of pound flat, but often action-packed racing, because this is rarely a smooth and tranquil start for our Category 4 riders.
Smooth and tranquil start? On a Sunday?
No, we don't need that on the
Never.
Sunday Race Club.
It's Kaminsky who's laying the power down and the pace at the moment. So Mikhail Kaminsky setting the pace on the front of this group. Ricardo Panizza is in the mix, so is Jasper Paradians. These riders wanting a hard race today.
Graves is aware of the danger here. He knows that they're going to come back. That work that they've done is going to be gone. And the rest of the riders need to pick this pace up. Do not let that group come back. If they come back on, you've suddenly gone. You had a selection of 8. You had a 1 in 8 chance of taking away the win. You've just returned it to 1 in 21.
He will know that. He will know that this is a big group and a strong group. And he will now be working out how he can win the race. And he's doing that by putting the pressure on early. I don't think he's trying to go away. I just think he's trying to make their legs hurt.
If you know the course, you can save energy, you can save power, you can be really, really efficient. And that, for me, is absolutely critical, because the margins between these riders are small.
In Category 4, White has stayed clear of the entire race field. He's now 3.3 kilometres from the finish. The wall is in front of him. He's got the Pattenberg, and can he hold it together? The chase group behind really, really motoring. The man in second place with 1 kilometre to go. It's about 150 metres separating White and West at the moment, maybe even less now. But can Brian White make it to the finish line first? Can Alex West catch him? West is going to run out of road, because that's the UCI banner, and this is Brian White. White is going to take the win here in Category 4. However hard Alex West has chased, White has stayed away. Your winner in Category 4, Brian White.
Madame, messieurs, bonjour, ravi de vous retrouver sur MyWhoosh pour ce Sunday Race Club. Catégorie au départ, la catégorie 4 en rouge, les bleus de la catégorie 3, la catégorie 2 en vert et bien sûr la catégorie 1 en jaune, avec les rouges qui vont ouvrir le bal. Très difficile, faut-il le préciser également. On s'est vraiment régalé. Très très difficile, alors qu'ici on salue Jeff Rudy qui est présent parmi nous. Il est content d'être là. Allez, Bohammer et SS pour les Émirats. Ah, et clairement ils sont de plus en plus nombreux sur MyWhoosh et en plus à devenir performants. La Belgique a été impressionnante en demi-finale en plaçant 5 compatriotes sur 20 possibles. C'est quand même une très très grosse performance. Et donc on est parti avec Mister Xan qui traîne ici en queue de peloton. On a l'habitude de le voir un peu zigzaguer, on va dire ça comme ça, entre l'avant et l'arrière. Mister Xan qui doit toujours faire des efforts. Et là on a Brian White qui est seul en tête, mais regardez l'écart, il a 49 secondes d'avance. Oh là là. Alex West qui s'arrache, il est à bloc évidemment, donne tout ce qu'il a, 8 secondes. Ouais, White il avance plus, les 300 derniers mètres à présent. Il va gagner, Brian White, il va gagner, mais c'était vraiment juste. Il était temps que ça se termine pour Brian White, qui va aller chercher ainsi sa première victoire. Bravo.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم مع الانطلاقات الأربعة والفئات الأربعة. الفئة باللون الأحمر، الفئة الرابعة والفئة الثالثة بالأزرق، والفئة الثانية باللون الأخضر، والأولى باللون الأصفر. وحياك الله يا أبو عامر معانا مرة ثانية، وكل الود والمحبة لك ولزملائك المشاركين يا أبو عامر. أبو عامر يظهر في الصورة الآن حاليا في هذه الانطلاقة، 45 كيلو متر، المسار في بلجيكا. سعد خير الدين المغربي يحاول أن يصمد الآن في الأمام مع فيليب جريفز البريطاني، وأيضا سعد خير الدين هذا الدراج الدنماركي واللي كان يلعب مع فريق اليو اي كلان تيم سابقا من الدنمارك مايكل كينيتسون، يحاول الآن أن يبقى في وسط الكوكبة التي تنطلق بقوة بقيادة قوية الآن في الأمام مع الدراج هايدن فرانكلين الميدا وقراءاته تقريبا 340 واط، وأيضا يلعب في الزون رقم 5 على ما يبدو أنه هو في عمر الماستر هذا فرانكلين الميدا على ما يبدو. نعم والله هي الصورة الحقيقية تقول ذلك. المستوى الآن قوي، الكل يحاول أن يبقى في هذه الكوكبة متماسك. الآن البطل الإماراتي مستر إكساندريت كامويلفيل يحاول مع فيليب جريفز، المحاولة موجودة. مستر إكساندريت يضغط الآن، يرفع رتم السرعة 45 كيلومتر في الساعة.
نعم 60 متر كابتن عبد الله، و8 ثواني الفارق بين الكوكبة الملاحقة لجيمس من الفئة الثانية. أما الفئة الأولى على يسار الشاشة، وهنا نرى اللاعب حسن سلطان يحاول البقاء ضمن الكوكبة الأولى من الفئة الأولى للوصول إلى اللاعبين في الأمام من الفئة الثانية، ويدخل خط النهاية بالمركز الأول براين وايت بالمركز الأول للسباق التأهيلي الثاني من شهر سبتمبر والقميص الأخضر، وأيضا يحصل على القميص الأصفر.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3 in September. It's great to be here for the men's race. We had an amazing women's race. Please do watch it back on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with
Emma Martin.
And we are looking forward to a fantastic race out on the amazing hills in Arabia in Tel Mareeb, Emma. It's a course that's a refresh and a reversion of a very old course on MyWhoosh.
Yes. Many moons ago, we used to head to Arabia, and the latter part of this course we used to do laps of. So the Tel Mareeb climb, the Tel Mareeb dune, that latter stage coming 34 kilometres to 45 kilometres, we used to do 4 laps of, but not today. 45 kilometres of racing, 532 metres of climbing, and we come out of the start pen. 2 sprints, then the aquarium climb comes at 12.2 kilometres. It's 3.2 kilometres long with an average gradient of 2.5. This is often not enough to break the front group, but it does drop people off the back. We drop down into the Leeward Desert climb, then we transition to Tel Mareeb. We go through the sprint, and then we go into the short, sharp climbs. And I mean short and I mean sharp. No more than 1 kilometre with an average gradient of 10% or more before the technical run to the finish. Now, sprints after sprints after sprints we have seen on this course at the finish line, and I am waiting for more today.
I think that's what we're going to see. 4 race categories, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in yellow, green, blue, and red, respectively. The first riders away are our riders in red. They are our category 4 riders. Our standard race category. We've got about 30 seconds to go now. We have got the teams. We'll run through the names in those teams. We've got Level Avengers, we've got Level Up Racing, the Mighty Ducks, and the Spinergy, the compositions of which we will run through in a moment. Joining them are the Anzacs, Upcycled, and ZTBR. Great to see our teams already in profusion in category 4. But let's get down to that start. Let's send our riders away. This is qualifier race number 3 on the Sunday Race Club for September. And we are go. The riders in red are away. This rarely a smooth start, rarely a tranquil start, as you have seen on our rewinds earlier on. This is all about making sure you get out of pace. Now, let's run you through some of the riders and who are going to be, in theory, making the action. I'll run through the team names and Emma can give you the stats.
Hey!
Sounds like a good division of labour. So, Level Avengers, we've got Jax Rusney, we've got Jeff Rooney, Marcus Brito, and Scott Francis representing them. In the Level Up Racing, well, Alex West and Ola Warren. We've got the Lost Amigos in the mix as well in category 4. Jerry Nielsen in there. Mighty Ducks. You've got Johnson Kutab and Felipe Tortoretto. Spinergy squad. 4 riders in the Spinergy squad. Really good to see. And we've got Joachim Skretin, Peter Otruba, Robert Conye, and Vitautas Jokobonis in the Spinergy squad. The Anzacs, though, have got the most riders. 5 riders in the Anzac squad. Brett McMurtry, David Winfield, Jonathan Cridland, Mark Dasson, and Tim Connell. It's a really big hitting squad there. Upcycled with Ian Lloyd and Xavier Maillard, and then the ZTBR squad, Osman Vaz and Renato Sartorio Ramos, known for his fast starts.
Well, I'm a little sad because I can't believe that our amigos are lost.
Well, there's one rider just representing them. He's lost his friends.
Well,
Therefore,
hopefully
he's
he
on his own.
gains his friends and he stops being the lost amigos and he becomes the many amigos next week. But Boo Hammer, well, he is on the course at the moment, right at the front of this Category 4 race with Mark Dadson and Felipe Tortoretto. These riders up and out the start pen and rolling strongly, 40 kilometres an hour, just over 1 kilometre of racing complete. And look at the pack, spread 3 riders wide across the road. Nice group, rolling well.
Indeed. Now, do you want to give us some stats on the rest of the riders in the race field? We do always feature the riders who do put their names to the teams, whether they are in the qualifiers, whether it's no team prize money, or when they're in the finals, when there are.
Well, we do indeed, but 50 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. And Alex West from Level Up Racing did take the win last week. We were in Belgium. It was West, Connell, Cadabona, Warren and Cridland who took those top 5 positions. But, you know, today we've got Bogren, Fielder, Zanaska, Dadson, Gomez. Dromard is in the mix, Callangad, Horsley, Bruce Newman and Tom Walker, who has been absolutely dominant on the front, was nailing it out the start pen. But Callangad, I tell you, he's there on our screens at the moment, a really strong rider, Joshua Callangad, and I expect this could suit him today.
I would agree with you. I think this course is made for tough riders because you've got the biggest climb first. In some ways, it's a lot like the Belgian courses that we see. It's rolling, it's bumpy, but then you get this big climb first, the aquarium climb. It's 3.5k long. Then you get 3 shorter climbs, which are really tough, really, really tough. And they're almost in 2 blocks together with a gap in between. So I think in lots of ways, this is very similar to the racing that we see in Belgium. That's where we see riders like Callangad come to the fore, Jacques Russinek being right up there as well. We're going to see people like Leonard Dorr in there. Horsley could well be his day today. I think this is a course that could suit him in action out there. Bruce has been knocking on the door. It could be his day as well. It's very difficult, but already we're seeing 1 or 2 riders just being distanced. Russinek at the moment on our screens, one of those riders who we know is going to be up there riding for the Level Avenger squad with Jeff Rooney, Marcus Brito and Scott Francis, and definitely a rider who could be in the mix. Tom Walker, though, pushing on through the sprint, should be able to take away the green skin suit. He's got it at the moment. Don't forget, of course, those times are live. The fastest time at the moment, that 15.877, 15.877 seconds for Tom Walker. So, Category 4 through the sprint, Category 3 on the start line. Again, we have some of our riders already in teams prior to our finals. The Anzacs, the Alteroa Alliance and Level Racing all represented. Arago and Edwards for the Anzacs. It is Henry East, who had a great race last week for the Alteroa Alliance. And Level Racing's Ben Cook and Luke Allport in there. They are legendary in terms of their aggressive racing.
Yes.
Almost out of this world.
Well, they are indeed a little bit legendary, and these riders now in the pen waiting to start.
So here we go. Time to go. In Category 3, we're in with SS, a rider who's progressed up. He's returned to racing in Category 4, progressing through there and into Category 3. What can he do here today? Another rider who is definitely on the comeback and known to animate the racing. I think this is one of the great things really noticeable in Category 3 at the moment is I think it's become more and more aggressive, and we're seeing that now.
Oh, definitely. This is our largest race field on the start sheets today. 53 riders, those 3 teams resident and ever present, but 53 riders on the sheets. You know, it's a big, big race field, and often one of our most competitive. Well, I say that Category 2 is getting ridiculous at the moment, but 193 riders overall, and you can see Moreno and Cadiz are absolutely nailed it off the front start pen and stretched this group hugely. There's Johan Moreno on our screen, and you can see the effort of the dig he's putting in and the work he's doing by the look on his face. Fabio Popovic, Oviedo, Allport, Edwards, Diduch and Mayer all in towards the front of that group.
And Johan Moreno, we were talking earlier on about this being a course that was around a long time ago. Johan Moreno and the Italian Espresso squad as
Oh
was.
my goodness,
Now
you've got a memory.
They used to do this on the racing that we used to have on this course way back when. They'd attack through the city streets, they'd attack early on, they'd put the pressure on. Moreno doing exactly the same thing here. Interesting to see that Pablo Popovic very quickly up into the wheels and up onto the front here as well. Another rider who's in here. Be interesting to see if he mixes it up. He jumps back in with riders like SS.
He's been out for some time from the Sunday Race Club. Great to see him back.
Yeah, Popovic and SS used to be on the UAE Clan. We'll see if they're going to continue to push. They've got a gap at the front at the moment, 6 seconds, and Popovic in that leading group with Justin Winpool going in the chase group behind. And we've got riders distance. So already with 2 minutes on the clock, with 1.3k cover, we're going to see another counter-attack here because Kochkov is going across. This is a big push. Over 9 watts per kilo. He's gone off the front. He's attacked, and I'm looking to see a response here.
The response is coming behind. SS is bringing the group back. Now the group will come back, I think, because Van der Zandt is also pushing on, and so is Pulgarin. The numbers coming out of the group behind mean that they are going to take the toe off SS and come through. Godzari is there. Angarita Reyes is there. You know, some really, really strong riders.
Iosif and Wojciech for the Czech Republic and Romania as well, pushing strongly here. This is going to be really interesting. Attack, a counter-attack and bridge across, but at the moment, this is not breaking the group into definitive groups. The gaps are not big enough, and the problem is that Kochkov did put in the kick. He tried to get across in one smooth move. Because the front group would pushing, he didn't quite make it, and it left the door open for other riders to come across and use him as a bridge.
Well, I tell you, Oviedo's in the mix there on the screen as well, and you can see again the hurt on the face trying to close this gap down. I'm a bit like, you know, we've got 45 kilometres, guys. You know, we don't have to win 2.5.
Well, no, but you could set the scene here, particularly if you want a really tough race. And some riders just want it tough from the word go. If you're on a good day, you're feeling good, and you're feeling good at the start of the race, why not use that momentum to drive forward, to push onwards, which is what we're seeing here at the moment. I think we've got riders feeling good. We're into qualifier race number 3. Now remember that we have a 5 Sunday month, so this is a fantastic bonus month because we get 4 qualifiers plus the finals, so extra chance in the month for riders to qualify, because you need 2 qualifiers to go through to our finals, 2 verified rides in the qualifiers to go through. Interesting move here. SS just putting in the take turns, let's get going. So is Moreno. They're looking to keep this hard, they're looking to push on. Let's keep this pace up. Category 3 mean business today.
Well, they do. Look at the stretch on the group already. You know, 53 riders stretched out down the road, 1 rider off the back already, and they are absolutely fighting here to come to the fore. So Moreno, SS, Wojciech, Bristolin, Oviedo, Holtz in there. This group just continually churning on the front. Robert Edwards from Wales in there. Andre Diduch is in there as well. Jose Oviedo still in the mix. It looks like a team time trial at the front.
Yes, it's a long...
One line.
One long line, and it's lined out. It is absolutely... It's almost... What it reminds me of almost is like the start of a Grand Tour stage. I know I've said this before on the Sunday Race Club, but it does, because you've got riders trying to break clear in the early few kilometres, and then we'll see... I think we're going to see the way this race is going.
Are you telling me this is about TV time?
No, not about TV time. It's about getting the gap, forming the gap, and then that gap will form, and then things will settle down. But until you get the right mix of riders at the front, then it won't stay clear, because there'll be too many strong riders behind. There'll be people who can stay with the group, who can bridge across. Once we've done a bit of skirmishing.
Oh, nice word.
Yeah, a bit of skirmishing early. I think then we're going to see some decisive tactical moves being made, some decisions being made, and then we're going to see where they are and what they're in and doing. So really, really good to see where those riders put those brakes in where the gaps form. This group on the front are certainly working out. At the moment, just doing with Cy Bradley here, one of our coaches here on MyWhoosh. And don't forget, of course, we've got lots of video on demand on MyWhoosh. We've also got the live coaching sessions. Emma, one of our live coaches as well, along with Cy, along with Lisa Hermansen. I think
Bart
Van
van
der
Dries
Dries as well. So it's a real mix of riders doing a real mix of sessions. Make sure you jump on board, jump in with Cy. I can guarantee Cy's working hard all the time when he's doing those sessions. You only need to look at the state of him when he does it. He's definitely somebody who shows his effort on his face.
Well, he does indeed. And riders not showing the effort on the face at the moment. Kochkov right in the mix. Angarita Reyes right in the mix. And Munoz Giraldo up there as well. Now, that's a good ride. Camilo Sanchez is there. Sanchez always strong, you know. I think he's one of the riders that goes under the radar is Sanchez. And often up there, but not one of the riders that we always think about in the top 5. Well, SS leading the charge at the moment. Justin Roy coming up onto the side. Bristolin in there as well. Van der Zandt is ever present at the front of this pack. Young and Ramirez, and there is Luke Allport. He's always there or thereabouts when the pace is hot out of the pen. The group now concertinaing back together, getting wider across the road. We've got 3-4 riders spread across the road now, rather than that one-man chain like that team time trial that we saw a little bit earlier. So at 5.2 kilometres into this 45 kilometre race, the category 3 race now settling down a bit. There is Luke Allport. We mentioned him recently. He's right in the mix in this group. Progressed to category 3 recently because his form is just getting better and better.
Do you know what I want to know? I want to know if Luke Allport has actually taken off his Australian national team jersey and shorts since he raced in the World Championships.
No, he sleeps in it.
I think he deserved everything. I don't blame him. Proudly wearing that, and quite rightly so. But good to see that he's still wearing that and
Do you know,
representing
if
the
I
nation.
ever won the rainbow bands, and it's never going to happen, but I would sleep in the jersey the first day.
Yeah, and the rest. And the rest.
I just wouldn't want to take him off.
But I think I'd love the fact that people are very proud to race and to represent their racing. We did talk a little bit about the World
Oh,
Championships.
come on, it's the pinnacle of your career.
It is, and
Representing your country.
representing your country and racing at a World Championship. I know, Emma, you've raced at the Masters World Championships, and I've raced at the Masters World Championships.
I raced at cyclocross, you raced track.
I did indeed, and I've got to say, I'm not sure it was the pinnacle of my performances, but it was definitely the highest level racing, and I think our riders can do that. Now, really interesting, Marvin Angarita Race here is one of our riders who we know is going to be strong, and I think I've seen his name down for the World Paracycling Championships as the tandem pilot. At those championships.
He just smiled, you're correct.
So I think we're going to see Marvin there. Emma's going to be out there as well, and there's going to be a MyWhoosh stand. So if you are going to Zurich, head down to the World Championships. Not only will Emma be there, but there'll be the team from MyWhoosh.
And you never know,
well.
you might bump into one of the Sunday Race Club races.
I think you probably will. Okay, so let's run you through our teams in category 2, our next category to go. The Al Wathba QTR Pro Squad, Nuki and Al Case in there. We've got the Level NSA Racing Squad, Rushmore captain in them. We've got the MyWhoosh Wheelwalls, a big squad of 5, a Winfield team, Grays, Walton, Koistinen, Restart powered by Alex Coe, Batty in there. We've got Rule 5. Which is going to be Heaney and Harvey. The UAE Clan team, well, Mr. X100 was on form last week. Will he be able to repeat that this week? The UAE Falcons with Al Tanaji and Hamden. And, of course, the What's Up squad, McCarroll and Clays. They're away from the start. We're in with Al Case of the Al Wathba QTR squad. And will it be his day? This is a course that suits Mohammed Al Case.
Yes, short, sharp and painful. Well, 49 riders on the start sheets in category 2, and we really see this group. Oh, they're racing week in, week out from category 2. Absolutely phenomenal. Ross Fawcett took the win last week in...
Can I just stop you there? It was great to see Ross Fawcett back and on form.
Well, he's now in category 1.
Unfortunate, Ross, unlucky.
Well,
but it was good to see you win.
He's moving on up. That's what he's doing.
Okay, carry on. Sorry. Sorry for that interjection.
Really?
Yes, carry on.
Well, whilst Matt sips his coffee on the other side of the studio, Simon Walter is doing the business in the pack. So is Harvey, Winfield and Grombear, McCarroll and Mendakowicz. Heaney is there too. In fact, there is Simon Walter in the studio at the moment. He's riding on the bike. He's in the middle of the pack. And this pack, a much more steady state start than we saw from Category 3. And Walter, Alcase, Almeida and Harvey all at the front of the group.
So when we look at this group, I mean, it's a big pack. Are there particular names who've got good results in terms of the top fives, in terms of performances? Phil Graves here on the attack. We know he's likely to go early and go hard and make the racing hard, but that doesn't often result necessarily in a top five when you go too hard too soon.
No, it doesn't. Well, the last time we were in Tel Mareeb, it was Coinston, Harvey, Troshanowski, Quintero and X100. The first time we were in Tel Mareeb, it was Mendakowicz, X100, Graves, Bengston and Peter Millerstick. So it gives you a really nice mix that actually we've got a number of riders who can perform really well on this type of course in this pack.
And one of the riders who I think is really on form is Olivier Simmons. You can see him there in the Belgian jersey out of the saddle here, putting a kick on here just to bridge across to our breakaway rider. Going to get onto the heels here. Good move by him. Behind, interesting to see Galuska, rider who's taken wins before in the lower categories. Moving on up into the group, chasing behind Simmons, absolutely flying through, went on to Graves' wheel. He knows that Graves is a good rider to try and break away with, and these two are very strong.
Well, Phil Graves moved back into the top five last week. He spent a period of time not hitting those numbers and not moving up onto that podium like we have seen him do historically in the past. His form just not there. Great to see his form coming back with that top five position last week in Belgium. I think this is another course that suits him. It's not a long climb. They're all short, sharp and punchy.
Yeah, okay. I can't disagree with that, much as I would like to.
I'll tell you,
can't.
there's another rider or two in here that I think this course is going to suit. Mendakowicz,
yes,
definitely. Cam Winfield, maybe. The Khan brothers, those two riders from Turkey, really, really strong when it comes to sprinting. And the latter climbs, the Tel Mareeb climb and the Tel Mareeb Dune climb, well, 800 metres, 1,000 metres, average gradient 10%. It really is a balance between the climbers and the sprinters, and we may well see the Khan brothers in there.
Yes, I think that the problem that anybody racing in Category 2 has got is that you've also got the riders of the MyWhoosh Werewolves, so Winfield, Thiem, Grace, Walter and Coyston, with the ability to send people down the road like Phil Graves and keep somebody like Tattoo Coyston in reserve. And I think that team tactics can play out here. Maybe that we normally would see in a final actually play out here in a qualifier. Now, interesting to see, we just saw the Category 4. You can see them on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. They're at 12.6k, and that means that they're already onto the aquarium climb. They're the first riders out on the course. The last riders to head out onto the course are our Category 1 riders. They're lined up and ready to go. The Alpha Jaw squad of Daniel Turek, David Talbot, Michael Kaminsky and Ollie Jones. It's a real who's who of riders. We've got the Hard to Guard squad, Osborne, Martins, Knudsen and the Iceman, Stefan van Els. We've got the Venga boys.
Yeah, Dutch Euro dance group, like to party.
Indeed. Will today be their party time? Will they be pushing out 150 revs per minute? It's going to be Jacobs, Power, Panizza, De Wit and Mayer. We also have, you could see Max and Janade of the Fudra Punchy Coalition squad jumping in solo rider for them. So not if this was a final, it wouldn't be qualified, but interesting to see Hard to Guard and Alpha Jaw with 4 riders, Venga Boys with 5. It's time to go racing. This is the Sunday Race Club. This is qualifier race number 3, 45 kilometres, 532 metres of climbing to do. Who at the end of that will be taking away the victory in Category 1, our top category here on the Sunday Race Club, with the 4 sets of riders away. 20 minutes difference in time from Category 4's race start to Category 1's race start. And the riders in Category 1, Emma, any one of these riders could take away a win.
Well, 41 riders on the start sheets today. The rider to note who's not on the start sheet, taking a bit of a break, is indeed Lionel Vujasin. He is not here today, and he did indeed take the win on this course back in Qualifier 3 in July. Just because I'll tell you something, it was a 5-up sprint for the line, and 0.6, yes, 0.6 of a second separated the top 5 riders that day in Category 1. Now, will it be one of the others? Will it be Noren, Jones, Safrazadeh? He is indeed signed Safrazadeh on the start sheets. He's not. So again, another strong rider not on the start sheets at the moment, but Jose Honda is in the mix today. So great to see the Japanese rider in here. Johan Noren has had a top 5 here before. Lyndon Millerstick has been knocking on the door since he came up from Category 2. I think this is a course that could suit the young rider. Short, sharp and punchy. That additional endurance that you gain with age, not so much of a key part of this course. Ollie Jones, though, and Hayden Pucker have been battling it out for some time now. Pucker really made the action last week, even though he didn't make the top 5. But Knudsen back on form. Van Elst has been going phenomenally. Kaminsky and Jones riding very strong. But what can we say in Category 2? Phil Jones
is a very good mountain bike cross rider and endurance
I
rider.
know, and I've just mixed Philip Graves and Ollie Jones and come up with another rider that we know who's a fantastic Vet 60 racer in the UK.
Yeah, amazing. The composite of the skills may well be up there. I'm not sure Phil Jones has quite the pace
of Philip Graves.
Phil Graves or Ollie Jones. If you
Bet
put
he
them both
wishes
together.
he did.
I bet he does. I certainly bet he does. So Graves on the move again. And I think this is a team tactics playing out here in Category 2. If you have a sprinter like Cam Winfield who can kick hard, you've got somebody like Tatu Cointon who's on storming form at the moment. He really is on great form. You would want to soften up the opposition for him. Mr. X100, he's off after Phil Graves. This is like watching the old Tel Mareeb course. Graves and Mr. X100 going out, knocking chunks out of each other and out on the race route. Behind Winfield, the youngster, thinking, hang on a minute, I want to get on here. He's got a great sprint. He's a teammate of Graves. And look at this, he's shut down completely. I've just seen 1.8 watts per kilo. He's gone on the front and then shut the power down. Let's see if Graves can go. Let's take
that's
some
what your
of the pressure
teammates
off.
do. That's the whole point of having teammates.
Totally.
They control the group while you go down the brake.
And it's a little bit harder because you can't physically block riders because, of course, we are in that virtual world. But really interesting to see aggressive racing in categories 4, 3 and 2. And now in category 1, we're 2.5k into the course. This is a big dangerous move for everybody behind because as this leading group of riders start to go clear, the gap has opened to 3 seconds.
Yep, 7 riders at the moment down the road in Category 1 being charged with Martin. Martin's here. Kaminsky, Panizza, Martin's Talbot, Van Elst, Knudsen. You do not want to let this group go. And the stretch behind is coming on the chase group because they've realised they do not want to let this group go. Take a look on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen how stretched that Category 1 pack is because the charge is on from the front. Well, they've just sat up. I say they just sat up. Kaminsky's still doing 7.5 watts per kilo.
They are, but even though he eased off there after that sprint, I think this really is going to do some serious damage. For me, it's really illustrative. You've got Van Elst, Knudsen, Panizza, Pucker, Paradines. It's a mix of the attackers and the chasers coming through at an almost identical pace. The top 10 separated by 0.8 of a second here. But this, for me, shows you why you've got to stay in the front.
They're still going.
They are still going, but look behind. You've got Van Elst in here, Iceman in the pack, up at the front here, really working hard. If you did not chase immediately, if you thought, I'm going to let somebody else do some chasing here.
But it'll be over.
The problem is you could have got caught on the wrong side. You then didn't have the timing and the pace to kick on. And you could have been dispatched off the bike. You could have race over before we reach the 4K mark.
Yes. And this Category 1 pack, the riders are absolutely evident and clear to go through and go off the front. And other riders in the mix really now paying close attention. Now, we saw the really hard start from Category 3. Category 1 joining the club too. We've got one rider off the back at the moment, and you can see that on the bottom left-hand corner of that Category 1 pack. We've got riders off the front of the Category 2 pack, and you can see that on the bottom left-hand corner because there's a massive chase group, but it's 15 seconds back. So X100 and Phil Graves, the 2 riders off the front in Category 2 doing the business.
and Olivier Simmons went to the front, had a pull at 5 watts per kilo, didn't get anywhere, eased back off again, and went, I'm not doing all this work on my own. And that's playing into the hands of our two escapees, into Mr. X100 and Phil Graves' hands here, because the gap, when Simmons was chasing, Olivier Simmons took it to 15 seconds, but then he got off the front. Now it's out to 18 seconds. They're doing 3.5 watts per kilo behind, whilst Mr. X100 and Phil Graves are doing 5.5. They're going to continue to push clear. Now, we know Mr. X100, we talked about the fact that he will like to stretch a climb, make it longer, and the two riders here taking turn and turn about. An indication there for that emoticon, the little move there of the hand, that emotion that you can do, that actually signaling, come on, get on here, do a turn, get in and get some effort done, let's work together to go clear, is working. 22 seconds. Hernandez at the moment, 2.1 watts per kilo. The gap has opened in Category 2. Category 1, moved by David Talbot, one of our regular attackers. They're not making this easy. You can see another rider off the back of the group splitting in Category 1 behind. There is distance being put in, and this is because this is not flat. This race route, this ride, you can come out and ride this, and I'd suggest anybody, if you want to know how hard this is, it looks easy. It's 2% up this little rise. It is not. Get out and ride it.
Do you know what
I think? Brutal.
Do you know what I think's happened? They've all put in a hard block of training. They've rested. They've raced the World Championship semi-finals. They then raced the Sunday Race Club last Sunday. This week they've gone, oh, let's have a bit of a rest week. Let's put our feet up. Let's do a bit of recovery. Bang, the Sunday Race Club comes around and take a look at the action.
Yeah, they forget all those thoughts of having an easy week, that's for sure. that went out the window a long time ago. Now, Johan Noren trying to get across this gap. 4 seconds to the group in front, 4 seconds to the group behind. The chasing group, Jackers, Plantero, Honda, Mayor Bankston, still losing ground to Noren. Noren trying to get across here to Jones and to Talbot. That front group is a real who's who, and Noren has got to put this effort in now. I think we could see this elite group go clear. We haven't seen this traditionally on a Sunday Race Club, where for the last at least 12 months or so, we've generally seen the sort-outs come on the climbs.
Yeah.
We've not seen it. But if you go further back into the dim and distant history, and you can do this on the YouTube channel, do have a look back some of the races going back, because really interesting to see the changes. We're seeing riders in smaller groups go clear in the general little bumpy terrain, that sort of rolling terrain that isn't easy, but it's not the hardest part of the course. And we see those groups start to go clear, and that's what we're starting to see more and more. Now, let's have a look. Compare this to Category 3. Category 3 just coming over the top of the aquarium climb. We've had the riders up and over the top, and they are absolutely flying here. The aquarium climb in Category 3, a blisteringly fast pace, 5 minutes, 54 seconds for the fastest rider up over the top. That is SS. He's in the polka dot skin suit. He was chased by Henry East, who takes the second fastest time, a 5:57. East at the moment with Popovic, Van der Zandt are closing on the back wheel of SS. SS is the rider in that polka dot skin suit just in front. East is on some cracking form at the moment. He's really riding well, really impressive.
Really good. And you can see this is the pack that they are about to catch. It's the Category 4 group. Now, Category 4 started 5 minutes behind. It's okay, I'm going to put my teeth back in. Category 4 started 5 minutes in front of Category 3. Category 3 started 10 minutes in front of Category 2, and Category 2 started 5 minutes in front of Category 1. So Category 4, the first riders out of the start pen, 20 minutes before the last riders out of the start pen, who were Category 1. And we will see. It's a bit like a chase race, but it's not actually a chase race. It's 4 individual races on the same race course at the same time, just with different start times.
And for those people who are maybe new to the Sunday Race Club, thank you very much for joining us. A little bit of an explain that when the riders catch each other, they can all take draft from each other, irrespective of race categories, but the prizes and the positions at the end of the race are awarded per category. So they are discrete prizes. Top 5 riders in Category 4, top 5 in Category 3, top 5 in Category 2, and the top 5 riders in Category 1 in our qualifiers are the riders in the prizes, and the positions are ranked as such. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the position on the road. So not the race finish position, but the position on the road. Hayden Pucker currently sitting 129th, now 128th as he makes a little bit of a move through, moving up to 126. You can see just making his way through this pack to the front of this group. He wants to keep these riders clear, and if I was him, in here with Mikkel Schuren, with Jasper Paradis, Tim Cutler, this leading group now, they want to keep on pushing because this could be decisive.
Well,
all the rest of the riders might as well go take an early shower.
Johan Noren has not made the group yet. You can still see him hanging off the back. He's about 4 seconds out. He can almost reach out and touch that group, but he can't quite make it.
And that is going to cause him problems. Now, Olivier Simmons, the rider on the front of this chasing group here, got 32 seconds to the lead riders. 32. At what point do you go, do you know what?
We're racing
Graves
for third.
They're 11k in. We've got a quick reminder. It is 45 kilometres long. If this was 15k, I would be starting to put an ice cream on there if I was going to be using the universal commentary currency of ice creams. I'd be starting to think about putting maybe an ice cream on the two in front, having a go here. It's a bit of an outside bet with the distance we've got, even at 15k, but 45, no. We're on to the climb. We know that Graves and X100 are going to sit at a pace, but look at the difference. They've been sitting at 5-6 watts a kilo all the way into it. It's got them that gap of 30 seconds or so. Now, the chasing group are suddenly turning on the power. We're seeing 6, we're seeing 7 watts per kilo coming out, then we're seeing higher as they kick across. This is going to be interesting to see where they are when they come out of the aquarium climb. That's Category 2, left-hand side of the screen. Category 4, right-hand side. The pressure's on. It's not just the jerseys that are red, the chevrons are red as well.
Yeah, they are indeed. And this is the Leeward Desert climb that the Category 4 riders are on the right-hand side of your screen. And look at the stretch. It's just a short climb. I say it's short. It's 2 kilometres, 3.5% average gradient. But look at the stretch on this group in Category 4. 13 riders in the mix. Tortoretto just off the back. And it's Tom Walker, Brian White, Ola Warren, Jonathan Cridland and David Winfield, the 5 riders on the front. It's a good strong pack though. I'm looking and thinking that's got to be 11 or 12 riders still in the mix in Category 4 after the aquarium climb and the Leeward Desert climb. They've got a 14.4 kilometre run to the Tel Mareeb section.
And you can see Bouamer here chasing really hard to get across to that leading group. He knows he doesn't want to let that go. It's 4 seconds to the back wheel of Mark Dadson, the last rider in that group at the moment. He's really got to push here behind him. Tortoretto's at 3 seconds, but it's dot to dot behind. It's a long, long spread of riders scattered across the course. And Bouamer at the moment with 5 seconds. He's not getting any draft. He's having to do the work himself as he pushes at the back. You can see the polka dot jersey, the rider who's got the best, fastest climb time going over. This climb, the Leeward Desert climb, it didn't used to be categorized, but it was absolutely crucial in the racing. It came after the aquarium climb when you've gone to your aerobic limit. You drop down and then you have this 2-step super steep climb up. Once you get over the top of the Leeward Desert climb, it then drops down. And the problem with this course is for riders who are not on form, if you get distance at the Leeward Desert climb, you're not going to get back on because the drop off the far side is not long enough, because you are going from the lowest point on the course. You are sub-sea level on the climb. I think, if I remember correctly, you're at about 40 metres below sea level at the base of the Leeward Desert climb, and you climb right the way up. It's the best part, well, the ascent of the climb itself. As you go up there, 71 metres in total.
Well, Brian White and Tom Walker, the 2 riders off the front, the 4 seconds back to this chase group of Bogman, Dadson, West, Warren, all in the mix here. You can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen where those groups are on the road. 2 riders down the road, big pack, 1 or 2 riders chasing. And then as that graphic comes out, you'll see riders in the red dots smattered all over the road. Category 2, it's a much bigger pack, but you can see on the bottom left, the Category 2 race field is decimated decimated as well at 14 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. They're on the aquarium climb at the moment, and you can see that climb very clearly on the top right-hand corner of your screen. The riders here we are watching are where the yellow line is, currently at 1.4%. So it's not that steep, but X100 and Graves are still down the road, 25 seconds down the road. Ivan Nuki, we can see him here in the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club rooms. Coach with that squad. Nuki pushing on here, up and out the saddle. He's the one trying to push on and close the gap down. Peter Millerstick is there as well, doing the work, as well as Henry Oitker. Tatu Koinstner and Mendakowicz coming to the fore as well. This group is a really strong group, actually, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this race plays out in Category 2 with that 24-second gap to the front.
Chase is on. Nuki leading the chase. Can he get there? You can see that in the aquarium climb underwater and climbing fast behind. Coming into the base of the climb. Well, these are the leaders in Category 1. Knudsen comes in straight onto the power there. You can see he really wants to keep this group away. The chasing group behind hit that banner. Now they're just about coming into sight in the distance behind our leading group. This is not all over by any stretch of the imagination. 9 seconds the difference in time from Michael Knudsen to the chase group behind him.
The question is, where is Johan Noren? Did he make the juncture to this group, or is he in the chase group behind? That is an interesting question. I think he's probably in the group behind,
2 seconds.
Is he at 2 seconds?
So he's in this
yeah,
group.
He is indeed in this group. So great to see Noren. Last time we were with them, he was the rider in no man's land between the two groups. He's made the juncture.
Oh, I'm just doing a double check. I might have given you false information there. I think he's in Group 2. My apologies.
What?
Yeah,
No,
he is. Yes, but this is Group 2.
Oh, okay.
It is Group 2. It's so
Just
fast moving.
giving me false information.
Yes, my apologies.
Never trust your co-commentator in the studio.
Not when he's in need of more coffee.
Well, Arnie Jacobs, I'm not quite sure he's got time for a coffee, but he's
Definitely
absolutely
not.
motoring here. He's with Mayer and Power, Plantro and Mollistic. This is the chase group with Yunsei Honda as well in the mix. They're chasing the leading group in Category 1. It's at 12 seconds, the gap. Now, one of the things for me is when they go up and over the aquarium climb, this climb is not steep. It's it's the longest climb of the day at 3.2 kilometres, but it's not steep with an average gradient of 2.5%. They then have a long descent the other side before the Leeward Desert climb, and then a 14.5 kilometre transition before we get to any more climbing. If this chase group can get themselves organised, I know the leading group will want something to say about this, but there is the possibility it could come back together.
I think it's a strong possibility. I think the problem that the lead group has got is it's almost too big. Because you know that you've still got a lot of people that you've got are going to have a real battle with to stay clear of. There's so many strong riders in there. I certainly wouldn't want to tow a rider or work with a rider like Hayden Pucker to the finish, because Pucker, we know, he's on absolutely blinding
9
form.
riders in this leading group.
It's a big group. So you either for me, you need to do something decisive. You either need to shed a few, get it down to maybe 5 or 6. It's not a lot, but get rid of somebody that you don't want to take into that finish. I mean, or take it a little bit easier, say something, because I know I am always having to go at people for giving away a race lead, but I just think that's the problem that the riders have at the moment is everybody in there is strong. It's not like you think, I can do this, no problems at all. I've only got a few riders with me. You can really attack us. It'll be really interesting to see what they do here. It's a bit of a Hobson's choice. There's no right, there's no wrong.
Well, there's no right and there's no wrong. And in Category 2, we saw Phil Graves and Mr. X100 break away and had about a 35-second gap going into the base of the aquarium climb. At the top of the aquarium climb, it's at 12 seconds. They're now on the bottom of the descent on the other side. And the pack, well, they're still out of sight behind in the shot at the moment, but they won't be for long if they continue to move. Graves and X100, the two riders down the road. It's now, looking at that, 14 seconds. It's Cam Winfield and Walter Clays on the front. That's a strong chase group, actually.
It is, but I'm looking at the numbers, Emma, and they're not high. They're 2.5, 3.5s, maybe 4.5s, or whereas Graves and Mr. X100, I suspect, are going to now tap out 5, 5.5 going into the climb, because remember they're now below sea level. They've got to kick their way up on to the Leeward Desert climb, and Graves and Co just got that last dip down their top right hand side of the screen. Mr. X100 and Phil Graves, they've got the dip down coming up, and then they've got the big climb of the Leeward Desert. Top left hand side, the leaders in category 1 there on the aquarium climb. The two lower screens, you've got Category 3 leaders, Henry East at the moment, left-hand side of that screen, Tom Walker, right-hand side of that screen, and at the moment, East and Vujicic with an 8-second gap to Spratt, to Popovic, Moreno, Oisif, Diduch in there as well. That is a tough move. The riders there, East going clear there with company. That is that's not a bad move at this stage in the racing.
No, it's not at all. And the riders really racing this course today in Tel Mareeb in Arabia. Mikhail Kaminsky on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of that pack. Jones, Paradians, Kaminsky and Van Elst, the 4 riders at the front. Turek just closing it over. Hayden Pucker's blue cap is what you can see as well. So these riders pushing on here at the moment and really trying to make the most of that. That's the end of the aquarium climb.
Let's see when the chasers come through, if they gained or lost time. Remember, the climb segment, the time is taken from the base of the climb to the top of the climb. Now, at the moment, you can see the leading group of 7 riders gone through. They're on your screen, so that's Jones to Turek. If the chasers come through with faster times, they've closed the gap down. If the chasers come through with slower times, they've lost time on that climb. They went in with about 15 seconds. They've gone over the top with, it could be 15 seconds. We're going to see, and we take a look at that. Well, Panizza and Shuren have gone over the top there with, what's that?
Well,
extra time.
Those 2 riders, Panizza and Shuren, were part and parcel of the leading pack. It was 9 going into the bottom of the aquarium climb. It was 7 out the top. Panizza and Shuren have lost 25 and 26 seconds respectively going through. We've now just seen the chasing pack come through, and they've gone through at the same time as Shuren and Panizza, 26 seconds back. So losing time on the climb.
So the gap has opened over the top. 2 riders detached. You can see them on your screen. Panizza here and Shuren in front.
Well, they are going to join that chase group behind. So 2 riders dropped from the lead group will now be joining the chase group and making the chase group bigger.
Well, all action in Category 1. It's all action in Category 2. Mr. X100 and Phil Graves, the 2 riders in front of Mohammed El Alami here. El Alami put in a fantastic race performance in the GCC stage race, the championship, making his way up this climb. This is the ascent of the Leeward Desert climb. The rider from the UAE really pushing on in here, just going to make his way up into the climb here, looking strong. Will he be able to close that gap down? Grace, Mr. X100 in front. Cam Winfield, though, is dangerous. He's going with El Alami, and he has a phenomenal sprint on him. Behind, you can see that Simmons, Walter, Heaney, Dunn, and Co. They are at 5 seconds to Alami. Alami 6 seconds to Graves. This is going to be tough stuff. Will they be able to bridge across? Another big kick comes from Alami, up to nearly 7 watts per kilo here. Will he make it? It's so close. There's a step coming up. If he can push over the top, pick up some pace, when the leaders go on to the second part of the climb, the second steeper section, if he can carry his momentum across the flat, he could get on there. He maybe needs Cam Winfield with him to do that, because it's 2 versus 2 is a lot more of an equal battle. But look how close the chasers are.
The chase group is so close, and there's a 14.5 kilometre run from the top of this climb to the base of the next climb. It's a long section. I'd give that to the chase group, not necessarily the 2 out front. Now this gap has come down, so I could see why the back group not so bothered about making connection. But El Alami and Winfield really driving this at the moment on the climb. They're on the flat section of the climb. It's going to kick again, and this is the Leeward Desert climb, and these riders are motoring.
And a move by Mendakowicz, Mendakowicz trying to push across. He knows that when the lead riders go into the ascent in front of him, you see that tarmac rising up in front here on the Leeward Desert Climb, that their speed will come off. The physical distance between him and the riders will come down. Simple physics dictate that. And if he can push through, he's gone clear of Coitston and he's gone through clear of Walter, he could get back on, but Graves is aware of that. So is Mr. X100. 7.5 watts a kilo. They do not want to let that chase group come back. They do not want to give away that lead that easily. They've gone past Ben Kirk. Interesting moves there, going over the top of Kirk.
Yeah, well, the danger here is that they get to the Tel Mareeb climb and it's a wall in front of them. It's 800 metres at 10%. They then drop down and move through into the pre-climb, I'm going to call it, of the Tel Mareeb Dune climb, which is 800 metres at 6%. And then the Tel Mareeb Dune climb is 1,000 metres at 10%. You know, now if you're pushing on hard this early in the race, as X100 and Graves have done, the last thing you want to do is get to those walls and go bang.
And behind them, you can just see Winfield has been caught here. So is El Alami by Mendakowicz and Koistonen. Then it's a gap of a couple of seconds back to David Darn. So we are seeing groups of threes, fours riders behind our two leaders, Graves and Mr. X100. And this is in some ways the best result that could happen for those two riders. They won't have thought, I'm sure, that they could stay clear of everybody, but they may be able to stay clear of the majority.
Well, take a look at that. X100 in 20th position in terms of his time up the climb. Phil Graves in 22nd. And that's because the chasers in Category 2 have been doing what chasers do well, and that's chasing.
So the chase is on in Category 2. They're chasing down Mr. X100 and Phil Graves. 4 seconds to gap back to a group of about 4, if not 5 riders. With Mendakowicz, Koistonen and Winfield in that mix, along with El Alami. Left-hand side of your screen, you've got your leading group in Category 1, which has managed to stay clear. Not only does it stay clear, it's pulled extra time out. 25 seconds is the gap. I think this now, surely at 20 kilometres, is going to be the leading group. The winning 5 riders, the riders who we are going to see taking away prizes,
coming from
are going to come from this group here. And that means 2 riders won't make it, but we've still got a lot of distance to decide that.
Oh, we do indeed, and a lot of distance, because they're at 20.2 kilometres into this race, and the 25-second gap back to the chase group already well and truly established. 7 riders clear in the leading group in Category 1. The push is on in Category 2. On the right-hand side of your screen, they're chasing down X100 and Phil Graves. They're about to make the juncture to that group.
So here we go. The juncture is about to be made. They're about to close the gap down. This is going to be absolutely key. Who can make the junction? Who can get in the wheels? You can just see the riders now taking a look. Mr. X100 looks to get absorbed by this group, but has Graves kicked on the front? He has a little bit here, but this is where you need to get together, because the 2 riders have now become a leading pack, a leading group. It's not just 2 escapees. We're going to let them come together again, and then we're going to get a much better indication. And I think at the moment there is a danger for Mr. X100 that he's going to drift straight the way out of this leading pack and to be in danger of being in the sort of the second chasing group here. Well, and this is that second group. They can see him.
Well, it's always one of those dangers, isn't it, when your group is caught? There's a reason why it's caught, and that's because you're a little bit tireder and they're moving quicker. Well, Sykes Carradine is indeed moving quicker. Look at this. This is a huge push now to really try and drive this on. They've seen the gap and the gap coming down. They've seen X100 right in the middle in no man's land, and they're trying to use that wheel and push on. But Carradine now sitting up and letting somebody else take over. Caen coming through with a strong pace, and so is James Krasnich. They really are drilling this one rider down the road at a time to try and pull the group across to the leaders.
So the riders all over the climb. There's riders putting in massive attacks. You can just see Michael Nussen nearly at 9 watts per kilo as he pushes on this climb. Will he be able to break anybody off the back? Will he be able to extend this lead? This is about hurting legs. This is about doing damage. It's about seeing who responds quickest, who is quickly on the wheels, who is maybe suffering to get on the wheels, who's maybe holding something back. He's going to be looking to see what the riders do. When you put in an attack, it's not just about what you do, it's about what the rest of the riders do.
Well, what the riders are doing behind you, well, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. Just drive on and move forward. And that's what Paradines, Jones, Knudsen, Van Elst, Kaminsky and Turek are doing. Take a look at that. It's the Leeward Desert Climb. Mikhail Kaminsky setting the fastest time, 3 minutes, 22 seconds. Knudsen, Paradines, Van Elst, Puckett, Turek and Jones, part and parcel of that 7-man leading group. Well, Mendakowicz, Koinston and Winfield, part and parcel of the Category 2 race field. They're the chasers, and the chasers up the Leeward Desert Climb setting the fastest time. Kel Power, Johan Norum, Ricardo Panizzo and David Talbot coming through in 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th. Those are the chasers in the Category 1 race field, not moving as fast on that climb as the riders in this leading group. Well, Johan Noren, we're watching off the front. We're in with the chasing group in Category 1, and Noren still driving the pace, still wanting the two groups to come back together and doing a great job to try and engage that activity from the pack. In Category 4, these are the leaders on the road at the moment. They were the first riders out of the start pen. Well, left riders out the start pen moving on, and we had seen two riders go clear, and Brian Wright was one of them. He's now the lone leader coming in towards the Tel Mareeb climb.
So let's see what happens behind Burma. We've got Jonathan Cradle and Adriana Zanaska. Loves the fact that Adriana Zanaska's in the mix. One of our older riders. We've got riders of all ages in here out and racing. And great to see that he is right up in the mix once again. I don't want to say all ages. When we've got Nicholas Spratt, he's not that old. He's on the move here. Interesting Spratt here with SS, with Didoch Oisef really ripping it up. This group, this big pack here in Category 3, I mean, they have covered 32k. They have not broken this down. And it's not for the want of trying. It's not for the want of attacking. Spratt now on the offensive. SS marking him out here. Wojciech in the Edwards, Didoch, Oisef, Popovic. I mean, Nikol Kansara in here. We know Kansara's a really tough rider when it comes to climbs like these.
Well, they're not there yet, but they are indeed pushing at 32.2 kilometres. They're around 2k, well, just shy of 2k from those Tel Mareeb climbs that will come thick and fast on this course. And it's a big, big pack, over 20 riders in that Category 2 race field at the moment. And, wow, breaking them is going to be hard.
It is indeed, and I'm not sure that the way to do that is to just drift off the front as you go in. Going to be very interesting to see what happens in Category 3 as they come into the next climb. Remember, we've got the Tel Mareeb climb, they've got the Tel Mareeb June climb, and we've got that short little kicker in between that will test the riders. Meanwhile, Category 2, this is the leading group of riders on the road. Al Alami, Graves, Winfield, Coyston and Heaney in here, and yes, Graves has been kept under control by the rest of the riders. The leash has been tightened around him. He's been pulled back into the pack, and at the moment this is now the group in the lead behind the chasing group here. Well, interesting to see that you got Krasnich, Ken, Mr. X100. It's 3 riders behind, and then another gap back of 16 seconds to the Walter and Darn group.
Oh, the Walter and Darn group. That sounds like
it's a 1970s blues band, isn't it? The Walter and Darn group.
Sounds like, you know, something musical.
Or a building
while they
group,
make
maybe
music with their bicycles, this group is down the road, and X100 doing the chasing now because, well, he is indeed on the front of that chase group, and that chase group just 3 riders. Bert Kane is in there as well as James Krasnich. That's a great little group of 3, but they're 13 seconds down on Heaney, Coinston and El Alami. They're the riders on the left-hand side of your screen, absolutely nailing this flat section at the moment and really trying to push on.
That leading group here, Emma, I mean, I want a really definitive answer here.
Okay.
Don't put you on the spot. bit like you did with Matt Smithson on the VVP podcast
Well,
regarding favourites. Do give it a listen.
Favourites regarding, I think, potential winners.
Potential winners. Okay, the favourite for the win. Really interesting to see. If you are in the leading group of riders, would you want the chasers to come back of 3 riders? Would you want the group beside Carradine, which is the main chase pack, to come back?
I wouldn't want.
Or would you want to stay clear?
I wouldn't want anybody to come back. Though I would be a little confident that if the riders do close the gap and come down, it's likely there was a reason they were dropped in the first place, and that the leading pack is stronger than the riders doing the chasing. But it really is, for me, this is just about focus on yourself, focus on your own ability, focus on executing your own race. Don't worry about what everyone else around you is doing, because you can't control them. You're going to come into the Tel Mareeb climb. You're then going to drop down into an unclassified climb that, again, is at 6.3% average gradient. You then drop off of that into the Tel Mareeb Dune, 10%. You've then got a 5.3 kilometre run to the finish with 2 climbs. So this is about focusing on your effort, executing your race, and really getting the best out of yourself. And for me, at this point in time, I'd probably be trying to ignore everybody around me.
Come on, Boo. I know you just said ignore everyone around you. Boo now needs to focus on that back wheel. Come on, Boo, get on that wheel. He just got distanced a little bit going over the top of the climb from that big group here, and he's going to come back in. He's pushing on hard here and doing a great job. So Boo really working to get back into this pack, and if he can hold on for this climb, hold on over the top of the Tel Mareeb Dune climb, and then make his way in those last 5k, that would put him in with a good chance of being in with the prizes, because there are limited numbers at the front of category 4. If you go back further, you've got people like Bogger and McMurtry. That's 16 seconds down. You don't want to drift back that far. So sitting in this group and now take a rest.
Brilliant job.
Yeah, good job there. And now rest. Sit in the draft. Make sure that you make the most of that pack whilst you've got that draft.
But that's an 8-rider group.
It's better than being off the back of it.
Well, no, it's very true, but it's still really strong.
It
and
is,
I think it's really interesting that we're seeing such large race fields coming to the Sunday Race Club in the men's race, but we're also seeing such phenomenal racing right the way throughout each category.
And in category 3, left-hand side of your screen, Pablo Popovic on the attack here. So it looks like Popovic has found his climbing legs out on the roads of Arabia today. He's on the attack here on this climb. He knows he's coming up towards the summit here at 34 point. What is going to be 6k, about 200 meters from the top. He'll be glad. It might feel like 200k, but it definitely isn't as he goes up over the top. Meanwhile, category 2, you can see Mr. X100, James Krasnich and Bert Kern are trying to keep the gap down to the leaders. 19 seconds is the gap at the moment. Winfield at the moment wearing the polka dot and the green skin suit with the fastest riders overall on the course. Is that going to be an indicator of what will happen in category 2 when we come into the finish? Meanwhile, Popovic goes over the top. It looks to me like he's gone over. He's put in that effort. He's taken away the polka dot skin suit. I've just seen a 0.5.
He's tested his legs. He's given himself a stretch. He's tested his legs to see how they're feeling, and now he's sat up to recover. The rest of the group likely to come back onto his wheel, but putting in a strong performance. Popovic goes over the top. Diduch, Yees, Gomez, all in the chasing group. In fact, the chasing group is 9 riders, so including Popovic, it's 10 category 3 riders in the mix at the moment. Ola Warren setting the fastest time up the climb in category 4 with Cridlin, Winfield and West and Zanaska. They, at that point in time, were chasing White, who was a long way down the list in terms of the time up that climb in category 4.
So it may well be that they're going to pull him back. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, category 1, the fastest riders in theory on the road, certainly showing that they are very quick at the moment. This is the leading group as they come through the 28-kilometre marker of this 45-kilometre race. We're in with Daniel Churek at the moment. Churek putting the power down or putting the pace down. This is a long, flat, fast section. If this group worked together, they could extend the lead, and they have dropped Lyndon Milostic. He's well and truly out of the running here. 38 seconds back to the Lyndon Milostic group, to Panizza, to Kelpower and Co. That is a gap you want to maintain. You certainly don't want some springy, bouncy youngster jumping on your wheels as you come into the finish with an explosive, fast twitch kick.
Well, 7 riders still in the leading group, still in the leading group in Category 1. There has been no difference so far. They're at 28.7 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. They're coming up onto the Tel Mareeb sprint. And at 34 kilometres, well, there's still some way from the climbing sections that our Category 4 and Category 3 riders are now well and truly ensconced in.
Ooh, that's a good word, ensconced.
It is, isn't it?
Ensconced.
Sometimes you just come up with great words.
Profligate.
That's a good word.
Yeah, this was used in the women's race. I've used it twice now.
Don't overuse the good words.
But it wasn't in context, so it doesn't count.
Always use your words in context.
Indeed. Right, 4 categories in our racing. Category 1 in the yellow jerseys, in Category 2 in the green, Category 3 in blue, Category 4 in the red. In amongst them, the polka dot skin suit and the green skin suits of our leaders in the climb and in the sprint competition. Remember, they set off with Category 4 5 minutes ahead of Category 3, Category 3 10 minutes ahead of Category 2, and Category 2 5 minutes ahead of Category 1. The fastest categories at the back, making the way through. All the riders able to draft each other, which means that the riders in the category setting off in front can try and use those fast moving groups from behind to make the way up, but that is going to become less of a bonus as we move into the latter sections, because this is definitely a course with 2 distinct climbing sections. The first climbing section, the aquarium climb and the Leeward desert climb, behind our riders in the lead in all 4 categories, although there are some riders still making their way through there. The riders all into or about to hit the second climbing section.
Yes, the Tel Mareeb sprint really signifying the move from one section of the course into the other, which is where our Category 1 races, the last riders out of the start pen, are moving into. Then they face what our other categories are already on. The Tel Mareeb climb at 34 kilometres. It's only 800 metres in length, but it's got a 10% gradient. You are going to feel it. You drop off. You then transition through to the unclassified climb in yellow. That is 800 metres with an average gradient of 6.4%. It is not inconsequential. You then drop down off of that and straight into the Tel Mareeb dune climb, 1 kilometre at 10.06. Never forget the 0.06, because that is crucial. It's then a 5.3 kilometre run to the finish line from the top of the Tel Mareeb dune climb, and the climbing is not over. There are 2 climbs on the way between that and the checkered flag.
So really interested to see who will take this out. You can see the leaders on the road, 38.9k covered. That's the right-hand side of your screen. These are the leading group coming up the climb at 39 kilometres. So they are now into the Tel Mareeb dune climb, that 10.06, as Emma quite correctly pointed out, climb on average 13.7% at the moment. This is steep, it's nasty, it hurts, it is a really tough climb. Cridland here having to focus. He's really going to need to get this dialed. He doesn't want to lose any ground here, but not panicking is key here. If you panic, you push too hard, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to be a bit like climbing this hill, though, with that kid seat full of a child on the back of the bike in the background.
I'll tell you, with a great casquette yet again this week.
Yes, always good. Casquette, look it up. It's basically a hat. Didn't tell you that. For riding your bike in. And if anybody's got some great pictures of casquettes, please do send them to me at Matt.
If you have a collection, send Matt a photo of your collection.
Yes, I do love a good casquette. Regularly ride with one when the weather is inclement, or when I'm on the turbo on MyWhoosh and wanting to stop the sweat running into my eyes because I'm working really hard and going nowhere fast.
One of my Ionian teammates has a phenomenal collection of casquettes. She's really into them.
Indeed, there's nothing wrong with a bit of collecting.
Yeah.
It's even better if you can collect wins on MyWhoosh, because that obviously translates as
to lots of money to buy casquettes.
Exactly. What else would you get other than coffee and ice cream? Or another bike. Now, let's have a look in Category 3, where our riders are at the moment. We have leaders off down the road. The leading group 9 seconds clear of Luke Allport, who needs to employ a bit of allporting to get himself up to the front. The verb to allport, meaning to go hard and to accelerate away from the main bunch. At the moment, Allport with a 5-second gap back to the riders behind, who are freewheeling down the hill. You can see these riders are going to have to make some serious pushes to get up to this. The leading group on the road, The concertina action, though, the expansion as the riders go over the top and into the descent, and then that compression as they come back in to the climb, really stretching and then bringing the riders back together again. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. This at 39k is a tough climb. Our Category 3 riders on that Tel Mareeb June climb. Category 2, they are already making their way into the climbing section. And Emma, this group are absolutely flying. They are so strong.
It's strong. Tatu Koisonen, Cam Winfield and Masia Mendakowicz, the 3 riders here. Actually, it's 4 because Alex Heaney is in the mix as well. But Kayan leading the charge, 16 seconds back with Krasnich. X100 further back down the road now with Graves.
And interesting to see Heaney, Koisonen and El-Alami working well here in this group. This is not a group attacking each other. This is a group who at 34.8k are moving really well here. There's no sleeping in the studio for us as the riders go over the top, even if Indy the Trail Dog, who has decided to take up residence for the day here, he's not feeling so good, so we've allowed my Trail Dog into the studio, has decided that now is the time to get a quick nap before the action recommences at the finish. I think he might miss a trick though, because we go over the top of this climb, it's going to be critical. Leading group in Category 2, over the top. Look at the time gap. 106, then 31. We're in with Mr. X100 and Phil Grace here.
The early attackers in this race.
Not all that long ago. They were off the front. They're not anymore.
Well, it's all change, and that's what bike racing is all about. El-Alami, Heaney, Mendakowicz. Well, they're 50 seconds up the road. Krasnich and Bert Kayan, 2 men, are in between because X100 and Graves, the early leaders in this Category 2 race, right on the screens at the moment. But they are Group 3 on the road now, not Group 1.
So time to dig deep, time to push on here. Emma, we're coming in towards this very sort of final run in from that Tel Mareeb climb. The riders in Category 2, they've got a little bit more distance. They've got the Tel Mareeb June climb. They've got that intermediate little section. It's not easy, this running, but can you be decisive here if you're not a climber? Is there a way to do that? I'm not sure that there is.
Well, it's a good question, really. I mean, if you're a sprinter and you're still in the mix, the climbs probably are short enough for you. But you're going to really have to dig deep to stay with the consummate climbers in the group. And then you've got the running. And for me, it is just literally get to the top of the climb, hang on for dear life, take as much breath as possible, and then go for it.
Well, it's that moment again. We're going to see the living legend that is Jeff Rooney. Let's see how Jeff's going on the climb. He's over the top here. He's about to see Category 3 come up onto his wheels at 39.6k. I tell you something, he
13th
is
at the moment. He's lying in that
flying.
Category 4 race.
If you want to make yourself go fast on the Sunday Race Club, maybe what you need to do is emulate the work done by Jeff Rooney to get the Everesting on MyWhoosh. What a ride by him.
Well, he's a phenomenal rider, and he's a really strong rider, you know. Really got great endurance genes, and that's what serves him well.
I tell you something, I'd like to be able to
Please.
get into...
I just need to caveat that
God.
endurance is not a brand of genes, as in denim.
Okay, you mean like genetics?
He has great endurance genetics.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that rather than thinking it was a brand of trousers or pants if you're American. Okay, let's get back to the racing, because Jeff Rooney is still holding off that chasing group, and I think the form is on. He can stay with them on the descent here and on the section leading in. I think this really could be to
well, this
his
is the run
benefit.
to the line now. So they're over the Tel Mareeb June climb, and they're on this run towards the line now. It's 4.5 kilometres to go. They've been on the descent. The pace is picking up. If Jeff can just tuck in, and I tell you what he's trying, he's kicking out 5 watts per kilo to try and stay in this group at the moment. They've also picked up Stretting as well, so it's just the top 12 riders in front of them in the Category 4 race. If these 2 riders can take the tow, they could get back into the mix. Well, Well, they could get back into the mix for what could be 6th place, however, because the 5 riders at the front of the Category 4 race are clear. They pulled Brian White back in. His legs didn't last on those short, steep climbs. Warren, Winfield, Zanaska, they are the riders at the front of the race in Category 4. These are the riders at the front of the race in Category 1. They're at 34.6 kilometres. They're coming to the top of the Tel Mareeb climb. It's Van Elst, Kaminsky, Knudsen, Jones, Paradians, and Pucker looks like he's being distanced now. Hayden Pucker is going to have to dig in if he wants to go with these riders, because they are now starting to motor towards the finish.
And if they are aware, they'll be watching those numbers. They'll be looking to see who's with them and who's not. They'll want to isolate. They know the danger of towing Pucker. He's got a big sprint. He's got a good kick on him. We've seen him on 1-minute climbs as well. We saw him do that in the UCI esports cycling semi-finals for that World Championships that will be in Abu Dhabi. We saw him putting the power on those minute climbs, on those 1K climbs, and that is going to be very, very difficult to beat. But at the moment, they've distanced him, and Turek is chasing Pucker
Turek,
down
I
here.
think, is going to come onto the back wheel of Hayden Pucker, and then we're going to see a 2-rider chase, but 5 riders down the road. So Jones, Van Elst, Knudsen, Paradians, and Kaminsky. That's the leading group in Category 1. Ollie Jones setting the fastest time up the Tel Mareeb climb, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Hayden Pucker losing 6 seconds on the climb. Turek losing 13, but now motoring up onto the back of Pucker's wheel. Kel Power, Mikel Planter, and Ricardo Panizza rounding out the top 10. So we have 12 riders in Category 1 up and over the climb, but the front pack are motoring. Oh, look at this. It's now only 4 seconds. Can Pucker come back?
He's got this difficult choice. Does he wait for Turek, who looks like he's just
taking a breather?
Taking a bit of a breather. Or does he? If he could have taken away somebody like Niall Batty or Jose Rodriguez, he maybe would have had some assistance. But it looks to me like Pucker, now you see he's taking a rest, 0 watts per kilo. He just took a little bit of a breather on the way down there. Really interesting to watch these riders just get those micro rests in,
well, and you know,
then
his heart
kick again.
His heart rate dropped 5 beats during that rest.
Fantastic.
They work. Those micro
technique.
rests work.
Brilliant technique, real masterclass here in how to try to get back to a leading group. Pucker is going to make contact here. Will he have recovered enough as we go on to the next kicker? It's 36.7k covered for Pucker, who's about to make contact. Turek is at 4 seconds, and this means that as they come into the base of the climb, Turek's hope is that they are going to slow in terms of speed as they come in. That will allow him to get onto the back, but then he's got to answer the climb, and he's not going to get any recovery time. Pucker has got the chance of recovery time. Here comes Turek. Turek is pushing. This is a good move by him, but will he have enough left in the tank, or will he get... He'll be in touching distance. He'll reach the back of this group. As you come across the lake here on this bridge, one thing that's not changed, we may now have some absolutely stunning graphics and a real difference from when we first started off on this course, but this climb has not got any easier as you kick out off from that lakeside, and these riders can attest to that. You can see here Die Dutch currently sitting at 43.5k in Category 3 lead. The leaders in Category 4, they're at 44.3k.
Well, they are indeed at 44.3k, 44.4. They've got 600 metres to go, and we've got a 5-man group up the road in Category 4 with 500 metres to go. This is Category 3. They are still chasing, but David Winfield, Tim Connell, Adriano Zanaska, Alex Weston, Ola Warren, the 5 riders here in Category 4 are going to be the first riders to see the finish line. They're going to see it just around the corner. The question is, who is going to go for the sprint here? Alex West launches in a phenomenal attack from the pack. First rider to respond. Tim Connell goes too. So does Warren and Winfield. Zanaska happy to sit at the back. It is Connell versus West. West versus Connell. I think it's going to be Alex West who takes that from Connell. It's going to be close. Had it been another metre or two, it could be different. No! I called it wrong. Tim Connell takes the win by 0.38 of a second. This is the chase for 6th place, and the boy of the riders across the line are absolutely flying.
What a run for the line in Category 4 there. They stay clear of the Category 3. Tim Connell from Alex West, from Ola Warren, David Winfield and Adriano Zaneska rounding out the top 5 at 44.4k with 600 metres to go. The Category 3 leaders do have some red jerseys of Category 4 in there, but they weren't able to pull back the group in front. This is going to be another sprint, and this is where we need to watch out who's going to go.
We've
Maybe
got
Angarita Reyes.
five Category 3 riders in the mix, and Angarita Reyes goes off the front on some phenomenal form at the moment. Diduch is doing the chasing, but Angarita Reyes is out front. Andre Diduch is coming. Can Diduch make it? Can Reyes stay there? Angarita Reyes going to take the win in Category 3. Diduch will come through for second. Arago for third. Kansara, I think, will take fourth place today.
Well, Marvin Angarita Reyes, the rider who's going to be a pilot at the Para Cycling Road World Championships on the tandem, the pilot of that tandem. He's on great form. He's timed it well, and he takes away the win there from Diduch, Arago, Kansara, and Wojciech taking away second, third, fourth, and fifth places, respectively, in Category 3. So Categories 4 and 3 in. Category 2 leaders, well, Tatu Koistonen is the rider in the green jersey with the black shorts alongside Maciej Mendakowicz in the polka dot skin suit with that number 2 on his back. They are currently clear by 14 seconds from Alex Heaney, and Koistonen, I think, does not want to wait and let Mendakowicz take him all follow him all the way to the line. Yeah, I would be worried about Mendakowicz's sprint, but Koistonen is on great form. What a duo, a real contrast as well in terms of a rider really coming into form and a rider who is punchy and known to be strong on this type of course.
Yeah, Alex Heaney now 14 seconds back here. He's got a number of Category 3 riders in the mix. Mohamed El Alami is back there too. X100, one of the early leaders in this race, is even further back down, and you can see where El Alami in third place is, 25 seconds up the road. Cam Winfield, Bert Kayan are 18 seconds up the road. Now, those two could make a move in this last 5 kilometres and start to move forward in the race. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here in this Category 2 race as these riders continue to progress. And one of the things I think when you get into the latter stages, because you've got the other race categories in front of you out of those start pens, you've got people to continually chase as you come into the finish, and there's added motivation there even though they're not in your same race field.
There's added motivation, and there's that added little bit of draft. It might only be a fraction of a second where you're sat behind somebody else to get a little bit of draft. That little bit of push that pulls you into the finish, that gets you that little bit extra pace, is going to be key. Missed X100 at the moment. Krasnich is the next rider in front. It's a long way, 17 seconds. But it's not doable, because we have seen riders blow in front, and we know he's going to bury himself all the way into the line to get the best time here on the course. 41.4k covered for Mr. X100. He's chasing down Alami, Winfield and co. Heaney's trying to chase down Mendakowicz, who's right up at the front there. But who is going to take this? Will it be Koistonen or Mendakowicz? They are currently 12 seconds in front of Heaney. Heaney 6 seconds in front of Alami. This is a real pursuit into the line, and we've still got just under 3k to go. It's a long way.
It is a long run to go, and 2.5 kilometres now for Koistonen Mendakowicz. Who is going to take the win here? Are they going to leave this to the sprint? Is Koistonen going to go early? Will Mendakowicz just sit on that wheel? So many questions.
It's not long until they are answered, although it is a fair distance. Now let's take a look back into Category 1. Stefan van Els, the Iceman, on the attack, clear of Jasper Paradians here, and Mikhail Kaminski, and Michael Knudsen, and Ollie Jones. We've seen Jones on storming form. He was absolutely flying in the semi-finals of the World Championships, and now at the moment he's being put to the sword by Stefan van Els. It looks like he has got the gap on this group, and this pair of riders, Paradians in the polka dot skin suit with the number 1 on his back, and Ollie Jones chasing Kaminski and Paradians. In fact, Jones has got company. He's got Knudsen with him.
Well, the question for me is what is going to happen now, because we've still got 5 kilometres run to the finish line, and it is a long time to have such a short gap. So 17 seconds, Stefan Van Elst recovering on that downhill section, but he's dropped his watts to recover at 1 watt per kilo. Oh, he's now picked it back up again, and he's continuing to punch as he comes down to the bottom of the climb. He's been able to drop his heart rate with that rest, but is it going to be enough? Well, Stefan Van Elst saying the fastest time up the Tel Mareeb Dune climb. That is a rider on form. 2 minutes 50 seconds. 5 seconds back Jasper Paradine, 6 seconds to Michael Kaminski, 17 seconds to Jones and Knudsen, 22 seconds to Turek. Kel Power, 21 seconds from the Wenger boys, moving on up in that mix. But it is indeed Stefan Van Elst who's continuing now on the power, putting that power on those pedals. He's got 4 seconds now to Kaminski and Paradians behind him. Are we going to see a group of 3 come into the finish? I think Knudsen and Jones now at 15 seconds, maybe too far back to close it down, but they've got some way to go.
They have. I think this for Van Elst now is a decision time. He needs to make a call. Does he let them come back? Does he not? I would ease off. I would sit in there and I'd go, well, you know, you want to catch me back, you caught me back, get on with it. I'm just going to sit here. I put on my attack. I think it's time. It's really is every man for yourself on the front of Category 1. In Category 2, Mr. X100, Hirsch and Bert Kane, they're closing in on Krasnich. It was 17 seconds to Krasnich not all that long ago. It's now down to 2. El Alami's at 20 seconds. This is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out in Category 2. Groups coming together and chasing together can bring back leaders. Tatu Koistonen and Mendakowicz, I think, are too far down the road. It's far. Saying that, looking at the numbers, it's 500 metres. It's not massive.
Well, it is at this point because Koistonen and Mendakowicz only have 600 metres to go, and Koistonen's gone for a long one. So Tatunen Koistonen launches the effort early. It's not a full sprint, it's just a surge. Mendakowicz now coming into the final 300 metres, kicks at 12.7 watts per kilo. He's the rider with the kick. Koistonen tries to respond, but 8 watts per kilo is all he can manage. Mendakowicz is going to come round the corner, sees the UCI banner. He's going to take the win in Category 2. Koistonen tried, but he just didn't have enough. Mendakowicz is your winner for Category 2.
Great win of Mendakowicz taking the kick into the line. Second place going in there for Koistonen. Third place for Alex Heaney. The race behind is still flat out in the chase to the line. I think Krasnich currently sitting in what is going to be 5th place because Mohamed El Alami is going to be through, I think, in 4th. It's going to be all about who gets to the line first. El Alami goes in, then it's going to be Krasnich behind. You can see Winfield Kane and Mr. X100 race for the line, but it's Mendakowicz from Koistonen, from Heaney from El Alami. Krasnich coming through to take a 5th place. That battle running all the way in and through the banner. Great racing in Category 2 today, really aggressive, lots of action in there. And we've still got Category 1 still to make the way in with Stefan Van Elst. He's reopened the gap, 9 seconds now to Kaminski.
Yeah, let's just take a look. With just under 2 kilometres to go, it's Stefan Van Elst in P1, 10 seconds ahead of Kaminski and Paradians, 17 seconds ahead of Jones, who is pushing on hard at the moment. Jones is one to watch at the moment. Knudsen 20 seconds back, then Turek at 25 seconds. Noren, I think what looks like around 50 seconds. So Stefan Van Elst is the rider pushing on at the moment. He's not had a win over the last few weeks. Going to be really interesting to see if he can take the win today. Would be really evident of the form the rider is in. Stefan Van Elst putting on some phenomenal form recently, finishing in the top 5 regularly, but not having taken a top spot podium for some time. So Van Elst pushing on here. Kaminski is in 2. Paradians is with him. So 2 riders chasing. Jones continuing the charge behind as well. Knudsen is there at 20 seconds. That's holding firm. I think he's going to have a fight with Turek perhaps for that 5th spot. That's going going to be one to watch as well, but they've got 1,200 metres to go. Well, Van Elst has 1,200 metres to go. Kaminski is still pushing. He's pushing slightly bigger watts than Van Elst at the moment. Paradians is working hard as well, and that's because he's trying to stay on Kaminski's wheel. Kaminski is pushing.
This is going to really test these riders. This is going to really push them to the limit. They have got to go flat out. They've got to get the pacing right. If any one of these riders gets the pacing wrong in this last 1,000 meters, they can blow. They could go from hero to zero in the fractions of a second, because this is about making sure you keep your gap. It's come down another second from Kaminski to Van Elst. Will he run out of road? Behind Kaminski, Paradis is only 3 seconds. Then it's 7 to Jones and Knudsen and Turek. This is all about giving it everything. If anybody can even think straight at the end of this race, they haven't gone hard enough. They need to make it theirs.
Well, Stefan Van Elst is cool, he's calm, he's considered every time we drop into his pain cave, but he's on his way at the moment to take the win in the Category 1 race today. There's the UCI banner signifying the end of the Sunday Race Club in Tel Mareeb. Stefan Van Elst, your winner today in Category 1. Well, Van Elst comes over the line in first place. Kaminski comes through ahead of Paradians for second. Paradians takes third place. Ollie Jones about to come in through the line. 7 seconds up on Michael Knudsen. He's going to come through for fourth place today in Category 1. Knudsen is going to hold on to fifth. It's been some phenomenal racing in Category 1. Daniel Turek, who stayed with them for so long, just not able to hold through that last 5 kilometres, and Johan Noren has done a great job of pushing on from the chase group in those latter stages.
So Johan Noren making his way in towards the line at the moment. He should take away a 7th place. Kel Power, in theory, if he can hold a position, will be with an 8th, 9th and 10th. There's nothing to separate Pucker and Panitza at the moment. This is going to be a real fight for the line. You're going to have to catch up with all of those results on the MyWhoosh website, www.mywhoosh.com, for all the results. Van Elst from Kaminski, Paradians, Jones and Nussens, your 1 to 5 here in Category 1. It's just seeing Power come through in 8th place, just behind Noren, Turek and Knudsen. Panitza looks like he's going to take that 9th place, just ahead of Pucker in 10th. Only fractions of a second separating them. Mendakowicz from Koisten, from Heaney, from Alami and Krasnich in Category 2. Category 3, Emma, and 4, I'm sure you got them there.
Well, it was Angarita Reyes taking the win in Category 3 from Diduch, from Arego, from Kansara and Wojciech. Then in Category 4, it was Connell from West, from Warren, Winfield and Zanaska.
So make sure you catch up with all of the results on the mywhoosh.com website. An amazing qualifier race number 3 in our men's race that followed the fantastic race that we saw in the women's race. Please do subscribe to the channel. Tick that button, tell a friend. At the same time, get them to tick it as well. Get notified when we go live, not just with the Sunday Race Club, but with all of the great videos that bring you all the information of what's happening on the MyWhoosh platform. Don't forget, of course, please do follow MyWhoosh on social media. It is at MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook. It's been an absolute pleasure putting words to the action as always. My name is Matt Payne. It's at Matt Fixer Payne on Instagram. Please do give me a follow. Make sure you follow Emma Martin
at Viking_Emma.
And don't forget, you can keep up with what we're up to out and around the world at the various UCI championships and all the various racing. Don't forget, you can join Emma for the training sessions on MyWhoosh live training sessions with Emma. There's going to be a session, I think, on Monday for everybody, and Thursdays
women's only.
Is women's only at the moment, and watch out for many more. Great way to get motivated. If Emma, having a go at you from the other side of the studio, is anything to go by, well, do you know what? You're going to get some personal best if you go trade with Emma on the live platform. Thank you very much to the team behind the scenes who not only listen to us each and every race, but put together the pictures and the images, as well as putting together the amazing platform that is MyWhoosh. But from Emma, from myself, Matt Payne, from everybody on the team, Stay safe. We'll see you again next week.
Goodbye.